All right, we good to go.
Nice, nice. So yeah, like, oh yeah, oh okay, he's back. Yeah, cool.
She's back.
Yeah, so
Yes, sir.
yeah, like, I mean, the reason why like I wanted to talk about it in the first place because even though I already know how I feel about what I like when it comes to death in stories, like what I see, like how other people
Nice.
perceive it, um, it kind of like makes me wonder. So that's why I really wanted to have you talk this to like see how other people view it, etc., etc. So like one of like the main things like I've been seeing. Okay, no. So I mean, all of us here like read action series and shit like that, right? So
Mhm.
I mean, so this is my philosophy. If your story, you
Like,
have your cast of
makes me
characters
wonder. So that's why I really
going
wanted to have you
through
talk this to like see
life or death situations, literally like 80% of the
how other
fucking
people
story.
view it.
Like,
Nice, nice.
I would kind of expect to see like some niggas getting clapped now, boy. That is me personally because like, yo, like you guys really going about like fighting for your lives and like nobody's dying. Like that would kind of make the stakes feel a little less for me as a reader, not necessarily for the story itself, but I wouldn't really like feel like anxious or worrisome for like certain cast of characters whenever they go through like a series. A decent example of this is like I mean like
Like
One Piece for
that would kind
example.
of make the
It's like
stakes feel a little less for me.
and I think it kind of got glaring for me, especially in Whole Cake where like these like Straw Hats going into Whole Cake and when I was reading it, I was actually like shortly after like I caught up because I caught up in Zoe actually. Um and whenever I saw like they going through the trials and stuff, I was like, huh, I know they're gonna like get through this AOK, but it's just a
Going
matter of
into Whole
like to
Cake
see
and
how Oda is going to do it. Like I didn't really like feel any kind of like concern for like the well, like something like that kind of just bug me. And just like a another example to like counter that. So that this book I read not so long ago called Jade City where like it have like a multi like the way about how that book was structured is that they have several MCs and you literally didn't know like which one is like the main MC of the book. Um I know everybody here reads Stormlight, so
Yeah.
you know like in Stormlight we have like several MCs, but you could tell that Kaladin is like
The main
you know
one.
the chosen one. Like yeah,
Just-
yeah, yeah,
he's
he
like
the main MC.
yeah, he's the star boy, right? So like,
Mm.
but for Jade City is like I'm reading the book, I'm like, bro, I don't know who the fuck the
yeah,
main
so.
character is, bro. Like it was so wild, and I think like the author Fonda Lee, like she did it so well because like she got one of them murked, right? And when she got one of them murked, I was like, and the way how she did it too, like it was just done so well. I was like, wow, like because I feel bad that the character died, was like, bro, like it really not safe for none of these niggas, dog. Like none. Like even when they reach like the climax of the book and all too, and another MC was in a situation. I mean, that's how climax of books are, right? I was like, bro, this nigga really might get clapped. Like I was literally concerned for him. So like just having that investment into the story, like it's something that I enjoy. So that's how I like how like deaths brought into the story. As a reader, for example, obviously like if you was to have death in the story, it could drive the story forward, like how it affects the other characters,
Mm.
like how it would affect the plot, etc. etc. Good example is Jiraiya from Naruto. Like I mean, that is classic example.
Yeah.
One of like my favorite deaths per se because next thing I wanted to point out to before like somebody else talking too long is that when like in some stories like I don't need like a favorite character or a well-known character to die in a very like extravagant way in front of everybody. He's spending half the episode talking to people while he's dying, them kind of stuff. Like, that's not. I mean, that's fine. Some situations it could work out in the grander scheme of things, like a white beard or something, which is fine. But like, I don't really need that per se, because like I say, a lot of times in action series is sometimes suicide missions, which Jiraiya basically knew he was kind of undergoing. So it's like just seeing how like these characters like go through the mud and then eventually die. And I mean, Jiraiya did fulfill like a purpose, which is to send message to Naruto and them letting them know, getting them a hint on like
reconnaissance and like their abilities and stuff like that. So he at least achieved that. So he wasn't like off.
So it's not like if he had to like give any like grand speech to anybody, like the only person else next to him was his killer though. Like that's how it was. Like no kind of goodbye thing, nothing too big. A recent example, probably not as
extravagant.
I don't want to say as impactful. I don't want to use that term. Like something like similar was what happened in JJK. Everybody here reads JJK, right?
Yeah, we're all caught up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So like with Nanami, for example, like when I think it was like he got the burns from Jogo, etc. And then he was like moving away from it, like exercising demons from the crowd and stuff, and he just bunks up Mahito. Nobody else was there. No kind of, and I mean, we already see the effect he has on Yuji.
Oh yeah.
Especially, it's not like everybody's there to see him die. No kind of half a chapter showing his death or whatever. Mahito just clapped that nigga though, like whap. And I mean, we get his like his two panels just showing that what you like want to see. Especially from Yuji going forward, but it's like, nah, you get a nigga out the paint because, and that, just get a nigga out the paint and that those kind of like deaths, this like kind of, it gets to me more because I'm like, wow, like this is how I would see like people die in a action series now, boy. So yeah, that is basically it for now. And if anybody else have anything to say.
Okay, that's a good point. Because I know when you talk about Jade City, like, do you think like the way the author handled like the character, you think that can only work with series with multiple MCs, or like a series with one MC can still have that effect?
Okay, that's a good question actually because like a couple of examples coming into my head. So, like, killing off an MC is a very risky thing to do.
Yeah.
Because
that's
like
staple,
I mean
your brand, all that stuff.
Yeah. So it is very hard. Like either like you are a fucking real one, like a Rocky, like a Rocky though. Like you just dust off Jonathan and was like, all right, let me just make a next part, and you keep that going, or I don't know if you guys watch Mobile Suit Gundam.
I watched just the first part, but I know they have like different ones for like each iteration of it.
Yeah, it have this one called Iron Blooded Orphans.
That was popular. I know.
Yeah, they had some deaths with an MC and thing like that, but they kind of waited till the back end of the
series?
of the story to do it. So it's like it really depends. Like all I can say is like it's a risky thing because let's use another example like AOT when Eren got ate from that
Yeah,
Santa
like
Claus
volume
looking
like 3 or
Titan.
something.
It's
Or
like, bro,
2.
if he was to really die, I
Yeah.
don't. It's like that might be a little tough because like who would you really get to spearhead that series from there? I mean, Isayama could probably do something, but like Aaron already was kind of
And
setting up to
his setup was
really
already
drive the
too
story.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of tough. You can't if you was to really have another character, it might be a little tough to really go through just given how their personalities were in the first 5 episodes of the show. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's basically how I answer that question.
Alright, makes sense.
Hmm.
I ain't know if other niggas have anything to say.
I do. Actually, I'm glad that you brought up Nanami because I remember that chapter. I remember the week it dropped because a lot of people, I won't, I won't mention what fan base, of course, but um, they were saying how it wasn't good enough because it just
It didn't what?
it didn't accomplish, or it was just a useless death. A lot of people were saying
Useless?
that
What
back
the
then. I
hell?
remember.
That makes no sense.
Oh, that okay,
Uh,
okay. Continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that it was just a useless death or whatever, and it didn't accomplish anything. And I disagree, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just interesting how people can say that because the way I looked at it is this guy should have been dead, like since the first Mojito arc.
Oh, yeah.
Like, um, I remember in that first fight with Junpei, I mean not with Junpei, with
Yeah, he was caught in
Mahito,
the main expansion. So it was like,
or even before that, like the fight in the sewers.
Mahito should have died
And
there.
I remember Mahito touched him,
Uh,
and that first time, he instinctively blocked it with his cursed energy,
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
Mahito was like, "Oh, I see that you did this, but it will not happen again." So, um, even then, I thought he was gonna die back then,
Nah,
and
he good, bro.
then of course with the domain, and he got the flashback.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
thought this guy is
yeah, yeah.
gone.
The
Like,
flashback, yeah. After the flashback, it's like, yeah, time to
I
wrap
was
it
like,
up.
he's gone, bro. Like, because that's just how it usually happens. And he started saying shit like, "Oh, I have no regrets," yada yada yada. I was like, bruh, damn, he was a real one. So the fact that it all came back full circle in Shibuya, and it was Mahito that killed him again.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a nice
with
little
ease
touch.
too. Like,
And
but
it's crazy because he was already half dead.
yeah.
Um,
Because the Joker and all the remaining
because of
injuries he
Jogo,
had.
and he was talking about like, oh, if he survives this, he would like to go to Malaysia or whatever and read a book.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, son, this guy is just so real to me. And of course, he got mocked. And then what that has done for Yuji is ridiculous because um I don't know if y'all remember, but in that first arc with Junpei, Nanami basically said that he didn't recognize Yuji as a
Yeah,
sorcerer.
as a sorcerer.
And then at the end, it all came back. He was like, "Okay, I recognize you now."
No, he already kind
And
of recognized him even after the Hito arc, but it's like, but after
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
the death,
yeah, for
like I
sure.
mean during the death, he was like it was more like he had to carry on his will now instead of just like being recognized.
Hmm.
He took like a step further.
Yeah. So it was just bittersweet to me. It's been one of my, it's definitely one of my favorite deaths. Like I can think about recently. Like
Recently, yeah.
that's just the goat. I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah,
Mm,
it is really nice,
Oh.
and especially like Mahito. It's not like Mahito like look at him as like, wow, yeah, this is the nigga from the sewer. Wow, let me have a nice talk with him before I kill him. Mahito didn't give a fuck about that, so just
He
kill him.
was
It's like
camping with full
don't.
health, bro. It's not, man.
Yeah, it's not like you have to do all this like talk when you're trying to murder the next person. Like that stuff really ever gets me. So I really enjoy that death. As when it comes to recent I mean everybody here read got up to MHA by chance.
Yeah.
We all have except Malik, but I think Malik already knows.
Malik, yeah.
Like he
That was
did
ter-
post
that
on
was
that panel.
terrible.
Yeah, so
So it's like I mean like the recent MHA chapter and Hori did his glorified stat pattern.
glorified stat pattern.
I mean
No,
personally-
that was the perfect page for when people be like, "Oh, my hero doesn't have enough like good deaths." People can just post that panel and they be like, "Hey, see, like there we go."
Yeah.
So, hey,
nah, it's like
did the
honestly
same, bro.
honestly like let's say for the simplicity of showing us, because he literally put it on banner, showing us that hey, this war that just happened here had casualties for our heroes. Like we know that. Like it is what it is. I'm sure some of these characters, especially like Midnight, gonna be affecting some of these characters probably in the near future. We might see more of that. But as readers, it's like you watch the page and it's either you don't care, I mean, which is me. Cause I watch that page and I was like, wow, I really don't care about this. All right, next page. Or like it's like other.
I'd rather see that on screen.
What's that?
I said I'd rather see that on screen. Like if you actually saw them like their bodies just like get mopped on screen, I'd be like, yo, like these villains are kind of wild then. But
Oh,
seeing like
I mean,
their breaking news kind of like pictures on there, all right.
it's kind of interesting because that brings up kind of slightly deviated topic about how, because I remember, if my memory is halfway decent, I remember during the arc they actually showed like some of the villains like kind of murking some of the heroes like at the edge of a panel or like
We
and,
like
like,
I know for Midnight, like it was implied because like after she got hit by
Yeah.
Gigamakia and stuff like that, then like some random dude we don't know the name of like jumped towards her like the back. She turned around to like face him, but since like
Mhm.
she's injured and stuff like that, then the next time we see her, she's dead. And it's like, yo, like that random dude was like your killer. Like, that was wild. But like for what you mean, because like there's a lot of like collateral damage, and I think that's kind of what he was aiming for. Like we didn't see like
Yeah.
Dabby just go up and then like burn people's faces off, and then like those were the ones. I mean, maybe you did. Like maybe I'm tripping, but I'm pretty sure like a lot of it was like collateral 'cause since he took out the whole city. Like there were like buildings falling and stuff like that, and he was just got. Of course, we saw that crust and stuff, and then die on screen. But like we didn't see all 19, and these not like big panel kind of thing. It was
And-
just-
To bring it back as well, to be fair, that Twice death was amazing. Like
Yeah.
Twice's death was so good to me. Right,
Yeah,
I
probably
cried
was
in
his
that
best.
just
chapter.
hey in the chat.
Yeah,
Probably
it probably
did.
was. It probably was his best one. Looking back at it.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know that we're all stuck. Because I mean, me as well, right? Because I didn't really like that page or that section of the chapter. But if we go back through the entire arc, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan either, so I'm not. It's not like I can say much. But that Twice death was really, really
Before we
good.
have Falcom like just gone, or
Nah, that
The
was
arc, bro.
that was a well executed arc. I mean, death.
Def,
So
yeah, I like that one.
Yeah,
it-
so I just
It's a
wanted
shame
to
that
bring
it
that up
happened.
because
Like a lot of mangakas do this, but like right when a character gets like I won't say too strong, but like right when you kind of get pumped for what they can do, since like they finally have the ability or like the competency to like achieve like great things, but like
Mm-hmm.
it'll be too much for like the good guys to handle, so they get off like right away before they can truly accomplish what they can do. Because after NBA twice got like the mental buff and everything, and then he became one of the most dangerous members, and then obviously he was the first to get off because having him just roam around would be too like dangerous for like the heroes. But like that's
Right.
another problem with like when these villains get buffs, because now I'm like when they get a bit too strong, I'm like, wow, like are they now strong enough that they won't live anymore? Like are they not like strong enough that the author has to take them out the story, or would they like are they still in that tier that like they can still be alive and do things and not like do things to like a high level, but like still stay alive. Like they won't have to take them out to keep the story kind of going. So,
Yeah, I think that I think that kind of speaks on this might sound like come off as confusing, but as far as like writing the death for the character and not like the character I guess for the death in a way where you you essentially kind of if you want to kill off a character and you have an ideal in mind, like yeah, you should probably plan that out like beforehand. Um, Depending on how long it is between the death and that character um, introduction. But I think that it's like better when you're not just like killing off a character because it's like it's convenient for the story. Um, and you talk Keem, you brought up IBO, and I'm not going to mention because it's spoiler territory, but there's a certain character that dies in the first season, and that had like a ton of buildup, and we got to know that character as a person and learn about him through his relationships to Orga and the crew. And so, that was like handled really, really well, as opposed to, some stuff that happened in season 2. I think you, Keem, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just say that, yeah, that's a difficult question, like too, in itself. It's like when to kill off a character. And I think it pretty much comes down to 3 things, the way I see it. It's like, number one, you're trying to do something for an emotional impact, which oftentimes people force, like the situation with Midnight. Or it's like it's central to the story, like it's reminding people like this is the reality of it. Like, for example, in AOT, during the Female Titan arc, when Eren and like the Levi squad and like the Survey Corps, they're in the going through the woods, and like Levi asked him to make a decision, like if you transform here, like this is what's going to happen, like this is this is what would happen if you don't, like. And so he makes a decision, and then after they die anyways, like he's like, I thought, you know what I mean, he's like, I thought this was the answer to, you know what I mean, he's like, no, like this is like I make my decision for myself, and you make your decisions on your own, but you have to learn to live with that. And so like that kind of whole thing reminds you
Those deaths were good.
yeah, that reminds you that hits in a different way. So that's kind of like important to the plot in itself, which is like death is a very reoccurring thing in this world. So and I think that's something Isayama does really, really well in AOT. And then the other last one is like if it feels natural, if it feels like this character like towards the end kind of knew or was hinted at or foreshadowed that there was he was going to die, I think it could happen naturally in that way. So yeah, I think it just kind of depends on the purpose of that death, and it's never really too early or too late. It's just appropriate for different, could be appropriate for different reasons. And yeah,
that makes sense. And Hay also mentioned, he was like, for like the specific case of like having like a feeling too strong, couldn't the counter just be to make like the good guy strong as well? But like with that, like you usually it's like the way the villain got buffed was like they usually do it like in Twice's case, like they were always that strong, but they just didn't realize it until like later, and then the good guys don't have that like same, they don't have that same. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but they're not in that same situation where they can just get strong that quickly, or like the way the good guys got stronger. It's like I won't say artificial, but it's like the gap was just too big to like the gap they jumped was like too big, and then the good guys can't. You can't really just make up some like things for your good guys to just jump that big as well. So yeah, doing that in the first place, you can sort of tell that like the villains now are just way too strong. So it wouldn't make sense for them not to just kill everybody. So they're gonna have to die pretty soon. And then, like
Yeah.
unfortunate
'Cause
when that happens. But
Now that
that's what it is.
we're still talking about MHA, like in this arc alone, there are a couple examples on what you were saying, Shisui, the three examples actually, because
Mhm.
with Twice, there was that emotional factor, and I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
That's honestly probably his best death.
Well, it's
I can't think of anything else.
really quick. The reason why that hits is because of the sense of loss. I was talking about it before with I Am One Orphans, where you get to know a character, and the more you kind of understand him, not necessarily maybe agree with like what he's doing or whatever, because in this case, Twice is a bit of an antagonist. So, but if there's like if there's a relationship that, especially when you have a relationship with another character like Hawks, where you're kind of two sides to something
Yeah.
completely different. It's appropriate for the theme. It's appropriate for when it takes place, and we feel a sense of loss because we got to know how tragic his character is.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's why they're able to pull off. But
Yeah.
some of the others, like
And
you said,
there is also example number 2 with the Forced ones. Like
Mhm.
that page, I'll just say it, it's not good.
You're talking about
we
Midnight?
have Malcolm saying this.
Yeah, with Midnight and or whatever, it's not good. But to be fair, at the same time, we know what that means to these characters.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about the characters.
Yeah,
We're talking about us as
But
readers.
can I tell you? Can I tell you why I think that doesn't work?
Go ahead.
I think that when I was talking about earlier with AOT, as far as like in the three things, right? Having a natural death, emotional death, whatever. And I think part of the reason why we didn't even know those characters on those fucking horses, like we knew they were part of. We knew they were part of Levi's squad. We knew how he saved them, all that, yada yada yada.
That's
But
actually a really good example because
but
we didn't know
when-
them either.
when they died, we were like, oh shit. Like, I don't think anybody in this VC that saw that was just like, pass it off. Like that was a pretty
Yeah.
fucking real ass moment. So I think it works when you have to show it from the perspective of a character. Sometimes it has to be a protagonist, or if this case, like if it affected Momo in that way, then she should have been present
Perspective.
to see it. Because I think that you know what I mean? Like when you always know those moments in anime and shit when like something happens in slow motion and you see like you see someone get like that happened
Like
with
when it's Captain Slow Motion, they're just like
yeah,
With
exactly.
MHA,
They're like,
with MHA, it's like that moment in particular. It felt more like a, like after, like an after war
Afterthought?
like loss summary. You know what I mean? It felt like a summary of losses. You know what I mean? Instead
Yeah.
of like a moment where we're supposed to be like
in the
damn, those
moment
characters-
loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
it just feels like they were tallying up their losses. You know what I mean? And so they showed us a picture like, oh, this is everybody
Right.
important that died. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
but with Levi Squad, like you were saying, it's like for us that moment was we were seeing that moment through Aaron's eyes. So we were. It's like it was like a moment of realization.
And it was his
you know what I'm
decision
saying, for
too,
us?
so it kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
and
damn,
since
like,
and since it was on him too, that multiplied the effect. You know what I'm saying? Because seeing them die was like not only does it kind of rip away that like fantasy that you have normally when you're watching something like literally anything where you're like, oh, at the end of the day they're gonna win anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It took that away, and
Yeah.
I mean, I guess AOT did that in the first episode, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Though it kind of
It keeps reminding you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so
It does it with Erwin too.
yeah,
Like-
so it did that, and it also showed us that like the main character made that decision and got those people killed. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Mhm.
I feel like some deaths can work on multiple levels, and others can fail on multiple levels, like we were talking about with the characters. Because I mean, even Midnight, like we knew Midnight, but I don't know
Right.
anybody that really cared that she dies. You know, like it's like
Oh.
okay, like that's tough. Like
Whoa,
people care.
I don't, bro. When we were talking about it, like nobody was really sitting here like.
I mean,
frustrating, like-
us. I mean, we.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
On
I'm
the-
saying.
on
Like,
the record-
I'm talking about us. Like, you know,
On the
what I'm saying? 'Cause
record,
we
I'll
talking about-
categorically deny it, but for
categorically.
for everybody else,
Yeah.
Like I'm just saying though.
I-
Okay,
No,
I'm
I
not
feel
gonna say
you.
everybody. You know
I
what?
feel
I'll
you.
just
Okay,
say everybody. I've
we should
talked
have seen
to.
her body instead of her like her eyewear, because like the guy that
Yeah.
killed her didn't like melt her body or something. Like
Well, let's talk about it for a second, right? Because you brought up a good point. And again, I want to mention with Aaron for AOT, it's like his death was like very, very, very impactful, right?
Yeah.
And it works because it's like you're seeing it through the Survey Corp, you're seeing it through all these people that
going on though.
believe in him and like think the plan's going to work because he's motivating them, and then at the same time you see it from his perspective because he has all these dead bodies, all these sacrifices
Yes,
to get
sir.
here, and it's like it all just kind of works together, and I think it's very clear and the intent is very focused. But with Midnight's death, if we're not seeing it from the eyes of Class 1A or the people she helped train, and then we're not seeing it, we barely saw it from her eyes, to be honest.
We didn't,
Like-
bro. We saw her like all bloodied up and she was beat up, but that didn't imply that she was about to die.
So the question is like,
Yeah, that's true.
what does her death serve other than like to remind you that
You
know,
get lucky.
of the situation, right? Like, yeah, she's unlucky, unfortunate.
Yeah, she was just one of the numbers. You know what I mean? Like she just one of the things they
The
lost.
statistic.
I mean,
Oh, no, bro.
she
No, I
got
don't
she
mean that
got,
literally. I just mean like
I'm just playing devil's advocate, so
she got a bigger panel
Yeah,
than
yeah.
the rest of the guys. So
yeah, that matters. Like no, bro. Like I mean, like Native, like
Also,
Native, for example, right? Native was on that page. You know, the dude way back. Nobody even remembers him. Bro. He's in Saints art. You know,
I remember
Saints art, right?
that.
Like so he was on that page, but it's like him and Midnight
What's
were the
his
only
power?
characters that we really. What was his? It doesn't matter. It like, but yeah, him and Midnight were the only characters. You know what I'm saying, that were on that page that we knew prior in this series. I don't know. They might have been in Vigilante. I don't know. But
And Cross.
yeah, and it's like neither one of them really made an emotional like that. You don't look at that page and go, "Damn, Midnight" or "Damn, Native." You're more like,
And-
"Damn, like those people died. That's tough." You keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh my
who
God.
spent 15 seconds on that page? Like maybe you were
Well,
in faces, but
to
one
be
thing,
honest, this is
People are
go
lying,
ahead.
bro.
huh?
it's just one thing that I know. When
He's
that
like,
chapter dropped on Sunday,
Mhm.
a lot of people were saying that because we didn't know them, and of course we don't. Like we literally don't know them, except for Midnight.
Literally.
That doesn't mean like
Your mic's cut
it's.
out.
Yeah, just a little.
Okay, I thought that was just me. I was like,
Oh, my bad. Wait, I'll even come back then. My bad.
No, you good, bro?
yeah, you're good now.
Am I
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
I was just gonna say like, a lot of people were saying since we don't know them, you can't really fault Hori for not making them impactful. But
Wait, what?
to me,
What?
Wait, what?
No. Hold on, no.
Why can't we
Everybody-
find the nigga
Hey,
right
one
in
time.
it?
No. Just repeat what you just said. I'm not even trying to. I'm serious. Like I'm trying. For real.
oh no, like I was gonna say like, because we don't know these people, you can't fault Horikoshi for not making it impactful at the
Okay,
same
yeah.
time.
That's not how that works.
Stop.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. We literally just explained why you can make it impactful.
No,
without
I'm
knowing-
saying no, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah,
But-
look.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
I am-
No,
What
he's
you mean?
saying that's what people are saying. But hold on, before
Oh.
I want to interject something real quick because I think there are two deaths out of that all of those people that work, and I talked about it with Nelly, and I said Crust and Exless, and Crust is, if you guys remember, might not, he's the one who saved Eraserhead before he gets
Yes,
fucking
sir.
decayed.
Yeah,
then
I remember that. That was
Exless-
a good death.
Exless is the one who spotted the whole like quirk delete bullets or whatever, and he like destroyed that fucking whatever as much as he could. So I think those two work because like, it's like they're very small characters in a very large thing, but they play like a big role, and I think that works. But the rest, yeah, you know how I feel.
I was saying like I'm
You know-
agreeing
you
with
know
you. I
shove
was
them
just
in a
telling you
panel,
what
bro.
people were saying,
Would you say?
but
I say it does. I mean, I understand those two, but those two were in the panel, right?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
Exless was
Yeah,
there,
it's like
and,
it's like
yeah.
it is. It's like it. Okay, the two minor characters that did a lot, and they died, but it's like you just
It
shoved them.
was more so like their deaths because like we saw them die before the panel too, so it's like that
Yeah,
was like the
it-
impactful kind of like part.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it
It
wasn't
wasn't
necessarily
the
like
panel
the
part.
pain.
It works because it's like, oh, they were clutch, you know what I'm saying? And then you're
Yeah,
just like, you have
yeah.
respect for like them doing their jobs, even though nobody will acknowledge them
Yeah.
as much as that, that moment.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
we as an audience, we know what they did rather than everybody.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
important.
And see, that's a good point because our conversation is about us and not the characters. You know, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Yeah.
'cause we know what they did. I guess their deaths are more impactful, but still, the bar is so low that it's like I'm
Someone's
not
doing
trying to
this
be
to
funny, bro. Stop laughing. Dog. Stop laughing.
What I was gonna say,
I'm dead serious.
He brought it around. I thought he was gonna.
Yo,
like,
what's good, Lou?
what I was saying with that, I'm agreeing with you guys. I was just telling you what people were saying on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
the reason
yeah.
I'm saying that is because, well, I put it on VC chat.
All right, let me check it.
Let me see.
I don't know if you guys remember this.
Oh,
There's,
yeah.
On my reread
Oh,
with in AOT,
I think
where
the people that died are irrelevant. I don't think
this girl is pretty much she's trying to return to back to the wall,
Yeah, I remember this.
and the whole it's like a 0.5 chapter. I think I don't know if it got adapted.
Drop
Yeah,
the ball
yeah,
right
it's
after.
it's an OVA episode.
Oh, okay. So the thing is, with this girl, right?
Mhm.
Isayama, he's a master at this, low key, where
Oh,
he just brings you hope. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
gives you
yeah.
hope.
It's a skill difference.
The whole chapter,
Yeah.
he's telling you how she's going to survive this, or how she wants to see her friends again, or whatever. And Isayama is a master at this, where what the characters are saying and what the characters are actually experiencing are two different things. Because she's saying, I will not succumb as soon as she runs into the Titan, and of course she gets mobbed after. And
Don't worry, geeking, bro. What the? This is serious.
Now, what about
Just
this
what
was
I
so
do.
good too? Was
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
even when she bounced up the Titan, and the Titan, like, as we know, came from Eldia, from Mali, and he was more likely one of the supporters of Ymir.
The cult.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
cult, yeah, one of the supporters of Ymir, and he confused her for him, and she probably think that like, I kind of like communicate with this guy, home time, nah.
Yeah.
Like she like it comes back to the whole hopes and stuff like that. Like she got
Yeah.
murked in the end, and that was the same book. Like as you see from the panel, that's the same book. Hanji used to really
Oh yeah, the Titan
Um,
experiments.
to talk
Yeah.
about Titans and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really nice how like these little things Isayama like kind of expanded a bit
Yeah.
on.
So
um,
that's why I
etc.
wanted to say, like, you don't really need to know these characters to make it, because you really
But like
just
the biggest
need,
thing is
like-
like these ones were that's what I was mentioning too. Like they were like on screen, like they were done. Like they all had like their even if you don't know them, you can still like put them in a situation that like the situation
Yeah.
they're in is like pretty compelling. But like these guys were just like we
Yeah.
just knew they were collateral damage.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
and then someone said Prince of Rain. He was like, even though he agrees that the people that died are irrelevant, he doesn't think it killed the stakes of the arc like people said. And I wasn't sure where that take came from. That like the stakes were killed because of the page. Like
Yeah,
don't really see the
I didn't think that
correlation.
either.
yeah, like
I wouldn't go that far.
yeah, like I don't know how the stakes would be killed based on the page, but
The stakes? Yeah, what is
yeah,
it?
like,
Yeah, because like
everything's
like,
still
like,
destroyed. People still died. Like
Yeah,
that's all
yeah.
still there.
Yeah, like
you
like
know?
I said.
As a matter,
you
I
could-
mean, if anything, it reinforces. My bad. Go ahead, King.
Oh no, I mean it kind of like goes back to what I was saying in the beginning too. Like what's happened in the story, like on page, on panels, like we get the deaths, and the deaths like the significance of those is for the clear purpose that even though like Shigaraki and company was like repelled or whatever, or they left, basically
yeah.
they left.
They
right?
still like had damages and stuff. Like that's what we're seeing.
So much damage, so much
Mhm.
destruction. People died, and
Mm.
okay, yeah, we have a mid panel, but that panel still Like
You mid pan.
let people know that
Oh
hey,
my
like
God,
yeah,
bro.
like it's tough out here. So that has like
Yeah, tickets were
just
quitting
because
their
you
jobs, bro. He didn't
yeah.
even finish the 9 to 5, bro. He said, "Fuck that." He was out of here.
Yeah. So I mean, what are some other series? Because when I'm thinking of character deaths, I'm just running through. I'm
don't
thinking
wanna
of
add
I have
Megan.
another
Rather than
example.
Tokyo Revengers.
Hold on, hold on.
I was
speak
thinking.
of,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't want to ask y'all something, bro, because we were talking about like side characters or small characters dying, like like Levi's crew or whatever. And I was thinking about it, like I was gonna talk about One Piece because I was
Yeah, go
thinking
ahead.
about that, right? Like he was a pretty small character, he was like there for like 3 pages, what I'm saying? But his death like snowballed into the War of the Best, you know what I'm saying? So like I just feel like do y'all have any examples and stories where like
It
one
was
small
meaningful
yeah,
to
one
other
small
characters.
death like caused something much larger, like in scale in the story.
That's a good. That's a good
small
question.
death.
Damn.
That small death you meaning like
I mean, no,
minor
the
character.
character is small, but the death is impactful.
Well,
Okay.
I think that works because we see the reaction of how it affects so many people,
Mhm.
and so that like Ace was like, yeah, that's the reason why he went and did what he had to do, yeah. And it's like it's meaningful. Okay, it's meaningful for Ace too in a way because I'm glad you brought that up because with Ace we see his whole journey and we see how he changes and we see how he learns to kind of like he's with this new family that he found, like they found him in a sense, and so he kind of changes a bit and he kind of learns to live with them and all of that.
Mhm.
And then it happens where it's like left field, this Nick of Blackbeard was planning it the whole fucking time. And then, it means,
you mean like Tag?
it means well for, I mean, not means well, what am I saying? It makes sense for why Blackbeard did it.
Yeah.
And then it also kind of makes sense because, we get to see like Ace and how everyone how it affected everybody. And then that led to Ace and all that. So that was like, that's a great example of Oda plotting a death out that like ripples.
I want to
And, you
point
know what I
something out too. It's more like contained to One Piece, but it can also like happen in other series. I guess I'm not sure. I can't think of any examples, but it can also like I feel like death can also be used to bend the rules of certain characters, like certain characters' moral rules, like their philosophy. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Like I because like I was thinking about Whitebeard, right? Like Whitebeard had the iron rule.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Someone said that's
Of killing a crewmate, and then when Thatch was killed, he forbade Ace to go after Blackbeard because he knew the consequences, and it was against what he stood for. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the he forbade him, but he wouldn't stop him. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Right.
at the end of the day, he wanted Blackbeard to pay for it, right? So
Right.
he didn't break his rule, but he bent it, and that's what I'm saying. Like there might be more extreme examples that are better. You know what I'm saying? But you get
No,
you
I
get my
think
point, like-
I think you made a great example, and that also works too because bringing up Whitebeard from his perspective because what made One Piece like a lot of that what you're talking about so well done is that the fact that we get to see how all of these pirates kind of live their lives and like deal with certain situations and having like their little codes that they have like between family and between each other. So it's just interesting to see how like their morals and certain stuff get affected when something like death of one of the person they know. So it just works on so many magnitudes and like I wish. Never mind. I'm not going to talk bad about. Anyway, moving on.
What were you gonna say?
You were talking about examples
you don't
of,
have to
like-
turn it into a slander session, but you can finish your thought though. Like you just.
I was just gonna say that I think that's part of the reason why I'm not some of the deaths aren't resonating with me, like Yasui and stuff. Like they're not clicking with me because
you picked the current one?
I'm not immersed into like the reasons surrounding the death, as far as like not just from like fuck, what was her name? Oh my god, who got affected by Yasui's death? The little girl.
Toko?
Tama?
No, Toko.
Yeah, Toko. Yeah, where,
Toko.
yeah.
I forgot about her, bro. Completely
Damn,
forgot
bro.
she existed, bro.
Nice.
Oh my god,
but
I forgot she
it's
existed.
more from her perspective. Because here's the thing, like I think
Toko was crying.
sidetrack here
Yeah, she was
real
bleeding.
quick, but I think some stories tend to they do a death and we meet a character like Toko or whatever, and like
Or whatever.
we don't. It's like other than seeing it from Toko's perspective, we don't really like. it doesn't hit as much as like you mentioned with something like that, right? When it really should, in a way.
It should.
But yeah, so I mean, okay. I get it that what that just def led to, but I still think that like in Wano, if you're
That's
trying to
more
like,
screen time, so you're right.
yeah, like if you're trying to make it more impactful, you just gotta like, it has to like reinforce the arc itself, like what you're trying to like the specific point you're trying to kind of make.
See, I understand what you're saying. Like, like
Yeah.
it didn't support. You're talking about Yasue, right?
Right.
Like, oh yeah. You're saying like it didn't support.
Y'all
the
got
themes,
hey
but
mad,
I think Yasue. I think Yasue's
It does on a minor level, but I'm just like,
no,
That's
hey,
it?
bro.
Like
anyways,
Zoro.
listen,
That's
I'm
led to,
not even about to
bro.
get into that.
This
I'm not
nigga
even about to get
hate.
into this. But listen,
Like, you don't think Zoro was?
Chris.
Yeah.
Yasue. Basically, like what I'm saying about Yasue is that I don't think it like you said, it didn't resonate with the themes of the arc, or anything. But what it did do, it served a great purpose, whereas it reset the alliances. I guess it gave them.
But yeah, but that
a-
serves as a function.
restart.
I
Yeah,
hate when that shit
I
happens.
understand what you're saying. Like it's not a good thing, but I'm saying it's not like it was a useless death.
Yeah, no,
It's
not
a tool.
useless, but
He used
but
it
it
as a
just-
tool instead of like
exactly.
yeah. I understand.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Like if I see why it's useful in the story, that's cool and all, but it has to mean something to me. And if it's super just like, oh, I see why you did that because you kind of force yourself, not force yourself, but you put yourself in that situation to kind of like get everybody together in a way. I'm like, nah, that's not how it. Like I'd rather like kind of you gotta like I don't know, like. What's the word for an illusion? Like, I don't know, set it up in a way that like, even though I see it coming or if it happens, like technically you were hinting at it all, whatever, but it just, I don't know. Like it's still,
No, I
works.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to go back to what you said, Torian, about does that ripple on? A lot of mystery kind of series do this, where they would like use them find a character, bring them into like the MC, and then like have them die while entrusting the MC with something. Like they would like die with like
Can
a
you-
secret code.
Can you give an example?
Lizard made me read some trash like manga, right? It was it was like Hitler.
What's it called?
Adolf? No, Hitler. No. It was some like World War II manga, and then this guy like he wanted to meet like his brother, and then his brother said be here by a specific time. The guy was late. The brother got clapped, but left him with like a clue, and then that clue led him to like this super like fishing where he had the mafia on him and stuff like that. And it also happened in Banana Fish as well, like Ash, like he was in the alleyway, and then that dude we don't know, just came in, he gave him like a bit of the drug. I mean, I didn't know what it was, but even though he died, like his death made Ash curious to like what's he dying for, like what's this like thing he's dying for, and of course that led to the whole story and the body count after that like. It was crazy. Like after that death, like Ash's whole life just went on a different direction because of it, and we still don't know that dude. So it's like even like a minor death could be used in like that kind of way.
I wouldn't say mine. I mean, Eden, it's an endless world. Because you're talking about like how
those deaths kind of hit.
Wait,
deaths. Eden, it's an endless world. Deaths, like they there's a lot of death in that series, and
a little too many. Actually,
it's more than just like characters. The main character knows, Elijah knows. It's like the world around him, because you gotta keep in mind it's a post-apocalyptic setting, so the world went to shit, and you kind of make memories and you make friends, and these circumstances kind of connect people together. And then just shit happens where fuck ton of people die, and you're just like, wow, like, you know what I mean? This is what it just kind of reminds you, and it keeps reinforcing to the point where, and I like that, where it changes a character. I mean, ReZero does it too, where he constantly kind of repeats, but it's like it makes you question. I love when deaths like make the characters question like what the fuck is the point of like doing this, or you know what I mean? Like, it just hits so much.
Shit.
Yeah. And so
I got 2 examples of that, by the way. What Tori said, like minor deaths. Well, not minor deaths, but minor characters.
Like deaths like spiraling.
Major deaths.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But it's okay. So this is like the events before Game of Thrones happened, so I don't think I'm spoiling
Okay.
anybody by saying this. A certain woman gets killed, and it triggers a war, basically. And the end of that war ends with like episode, like the aftermath is basically years later. Episode 1 happened of Game of Thrones because this lady got killed.
Yeah.
Basically, and like basically a lot of people died from that. Kings got deposed. You know, a lot of stuff happened. And the other one, I don't want to get specific and say who it is because I don't know if y'all, I don't know if I'm spoiling anybody, but and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, it's like a really obscure death. Like this
Oh,
is
brother.
Rolling Child
Yeah.
that got smoked.
You
Yeah,
said who?
yeah.
That
Or it
triggered the war.
sparked the entire war. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
that
Demetrius.
child. Yeah.
The mess. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was basically, I think it was Envy that smoked the kid. But yeah,
Always that
that
nigga,
death.
bro. I swear.
It really started Scar's whole character
Yeah.
arc because that's when the extermination order came. And after that happened,
They
then
would have
Scar,
had that order,
his whole
bro.
character arc.
Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And next
Bradley was.
what?
No, you good.
Or what I was gonna say, like another example came to my head. I believe Malcolm is the only person I haven't seen this, which is like from Black Sails. I mean,
Like season 1?
what's up?
Like season 1 Black Sails or like season 2?
Yeah, like season one, basically.
Oh, that character. Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, can you
basically
say
what
that?
happened to Thomas caused
Oh.
everything to
Take it
basically
to
happen. So it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
that's
Dude,
literally
I
what
love
happened.
I love stuff like that where like a death is a catalyst. You know what I mean? For like something huge to just spark and because like when I feel like when it starts like that and then as a matter of fact, Stormlight is like a good example of this. Like this is really early and everyone here, I think, yeah, this is really early. But like when Zeth kills Gavilar, right? You know what I'm saying? That's not an
Yeah.
obscure death, right? But it's like I'm not talking like. It's like when it's a catalyst for something larger, and then the characters forget why they're even fighting. You know what I'm saying? But they go on.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like that's what I like examples of that too, because it's like
that's fire.
yeah, because it's like when Gavilar was murdered, it was 6 years ago. You know, so they've been fighting on the Shattered Plains, and by this point, they're not even fighting for him anymore. They're not fighting for revenge. They're not trying to win the war. They're just fighting for the gem hearts. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
like, and I can't think of any other examples off the top of my head, but like
Black Sails does that too.
Yeah, I wanted to talk more like on Black Sails because but we'll definitely have to have like a Black Sails VC
Oh, for sure.
because
Yeah.
like the end of Black Sails kind of tie up a lot of questions that
Mhm.
were like the main themes of the story. But to have this one death because I believe everybody like seen season 1 besides Malcolm. Malcolm on mute. So
I'm good.
Yeah,
I
good,
can
alright.
mute if you want.
I mean, no. I mean, I'll still mention it, but like the story of like Black Sails, it kind of brings about the notion that good guys can't last in this show. Like, they just not really built for it. They will be abused and they will die. Like that is how it is. And like a really good example. I mean, even though yes, Black Sails is a pirate, it's like a pirate era.
The golden
You
age.
can't really have like the term good guys is like a very loose thing. But when you look at the spectrum of how bad some niggas are in the show, like some guys on will be on the lighter spectrum. And a good example was Gates. Like he was like a really nice guy. Yes,
That's my that's my right hand, bro.
yeah, he was like he was there with Flint
yeah.
along the way and stuff. Like he used to have a vision, but when he realized wait now, Flint actually kind of fucking crazy, and like it kind of started to affect his crew and stuff like that. Like, and him trying to be like the good guy, it bit him full circle. And I mean, I want to talk about other things, but that comes into like season 4 content because these were what certain characters talk about back in season 1. But like a character like him wasn't just made, wasn't ready, and well, Flint choked that nigga out. So it's like
Man.
It is how it is. But like at first when he died, I was like, wow, this shows some motherfuckers. Like I'm like, I probably like this nigga the most was him, Rackham. Were like probably like my
Rackham,
two
of
favorite.
course.
Yeah, I love Rackham. Rackham,
Bro, Rackham
like,
go, bro.
yeah,
Charlie
so I'm
Go
like,
Jack.
so I'm like, damn, they really killed this nigga off. But it's like when like I reach like a certain point in the show where certain like ideas like kind of hit me and stuff, I'm like, okay, like it actually really made sense as to why that point like he really had to go. So like that's like another example as to like how like death in a story could like really hit well. It have this next subsection I want to talk about deaths, but I don't want to talk about it now because
Why not?
that would definitely talk about some spoiler
Yeah,
territory
spoiler,
with the
okay.
examples in my head. So we'll leave that for another time, but we'll definitely get back on that.
Okay. Real quick,
uh,
someone did mention like they were talking about the Chesaway thing and said he low-key counts because he represents how bad Wano got over time to the point where no one recognized him, just like the country. But I don't think that was like the main like.
See, the
reason
problem
for
with that
this.
is that's like personal interpretation where
Yeah.
Oda was definitely not focusing on conveying that to us. Like,
You have
it
to
was
Yeah,
kinda
because
reinforce it.
like
info.
his was mainly
Yeah.
to like reset the scabbards because like the scabbards were
Yeah,
like
because they needed, they
so-
were down
yeah
for
they
it.
were
Unless
down
you reset it
bad
for
and
it.
it's like just
Yeah.
we kind of reset them and of course him helping Zoro and stuff like that just showed like just how his heart was and he was a victim of the smiles too, so like it did like a few things like around that, but yeah the main thing was definitely the scabbard reset and just him going out.
I guess you
making
could
sure-
also kind of like compare it to what Odin did on a lesser level. You know, saving the scabbards, dying in front of the crowd, in front of Wano's citizens.
Mhm.
That, like,
yeah
so I guess it's kind of similar in that way.
I feel that.
Here, I got like one topic I want to talk about. If y'all don't got nothing else,
Good.
y'all want to get on the topic of death fake outs. Like
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
alright, bet.
he did a topic where we think somebody died
Oh.
and they alive, or the
Yeah, yeah.
topic where characters get brought back from like
She can do both of them.
I mean, I have a really good one, but I can't say because fucking, I don't think everyone's caught up on this particular thing.
yeah. Let's just talk general.
I know exactly
and then
what
we
you're
can get
talking
to
about.
specific
I
examples.
bet I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about too.
Because it's like with death fake outs, I like how
I
Mazuta
think I
like
know what you're talking about. Food,
second out.
I already said that.
I'm sick right now, bro.
I think.
Hey, I'm no
I
name.
know what Tori. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no. You can go.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think I know what Torian think Shisui is talking about, but I know Torian don't know what Shisui is talking about.
Thank goodness, then, bro. Thank you, bro. You see, because I was heated, bro. I was like, wow, like I was like, this really good, bro.
Nah. Oh, man.
How do y'all feel about that in the stories though? Like,
I mean,
I like when it comes to death fake outs, I like when it's not done like they die and then we go back and then we're introduced to like brand new scenarios and stuff like. I mean, unless the death is very unbelievable, then I guess I can let that kind of slide. But like I said before, I like how Mazuta does it like an out. Like I won't say obviously who and where, but we would see like a person. Like,
oh,
yeah, we'll see them
yes.
have like they would they'll have kind of materials like that they can use like to like proceed to their next mission, and he won't see everything they get, but like he know they got like some stuff, and then like if like the stuff he got was the reason why like he was able to survive the next situation, then like that worked out. I mean, that works out well for me because now I know that okay, it's not like you just made something up. We literally saw him like get stuff there. We didn't have to see everything he got. You know, that's not like necessary info, but stuff like that, like I can comfortably let slide because yeah, like I see it. So it's not like you were kind of like I actually don't want to kill him off, so can we bring him back? You know, like sometimes you can tell when a author kind of does that. Like they kill someone off, they're like, actually, never mind, and then just bring them right back.
yeah, I got like a really good one, but so a lot of the times, like character fake out does be kind of like underwhelming, and it's kind of like, of course, like, but at the time I wasn't spoiled on it, so it was really dope when I seen Aaron come back, and like
Oh,
it's a
really?
whole explanation on why he was able to come back. Yeah, I didn't get spoiled on that, like him being a Titan, so
Mm.
that shit was
Yeah,
clean.
same.
Like,
Same. I didn't get spoiled on that.
Oh, I got a fake out, but go ahead, King.
When you brought up the topic, Malik, that's the first thing that came to my mind because like
With the
it's say
Aaron?
didn't dwell too long on it.
Yeah.
But he dwelled long enough for people to really like wonder like did this really just fucking happen? Like is he coming back? Like, and then you see like Mikasa leading the
Bruh.
charge.
Yeah, and then
That
she would
one
just put in
that
the
they-
work. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
like,
it's like,
is this what we
the new
doing?
MC? And then she got a flashback.
like-
she got a flashback. She was like, "Is this the new MC?"
It's
the
like
little
yeah,
trickery
it was
going
real
on.
nice.
Like,
And it's not like it was that was a really good example. Like when you like look back on it, you could probably be like, okay, like you some people might say they probably would have like see it coming, but my dumb ass didn't see it coming. Like I was like,
people
damn.
come in.
Like Aaron, not
Yeah,
dying.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
yeah, I was like,
yeah.
yeah, I ain't see that shit.
I wanted to talk about one I didn't think did. Like, I know it wasn't his fault, like literally, because like sent him death threats, but we're just gonna forget about that for a second. And I just want to talk about Byakuya, like in Bleach, right? Because his like he should have been dead. Like his send off was literally perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like he told Ichigo to protect the Soul Society. You know what I'm saying? Which is full circle from where he started during the Soul Society arc. You know what I'm saying? With
Yeah, being
how
the
he was
henchman
trying-
and stuff like that.
yeah, how he viewed Ichigo, you know, and how he was basically trying to expel, like expelling, like, you know, like a disease, you know what I'm saying, something like that. Like he was just trying to get rid of him, but now like it goes full circle, and he's the only person that can save the Soul Society. And I felt like that was a perfect send off, and then all of a sudden, you know, he just fucking pops back up. Like it was just so, I don't know,
That-
bro. Like
That's a good question. Are there deaths you guys think that should have happened, but I guess
I know a
didn't?
lot of people wanted
Yes.
Shinji to go in part 1, but I was like, like they only say that because of he did nothing in part 2. Like while reading part 1, like if like him living.
Wait, what are you
wasn't
talking about?
Like Neji in part 1 Naruto, like they want him to go
Oh.
out
Yeah.
fighting Kidomaru, but that's mainly because he didn't do much in part 2, so they said he might as well just go out in part 1.
Yeah,
But like that wasn't like in the
That's
moment, like
fact.
yeah, he should.
I mean,
go out.
that's
it is fact. Yeah.
So I was like, no.
I mean, in hindsight, like 400 chapters ago, that's actually a good move.
I mean, there's a
Teach
literal
them how to
perfect
actually
example in the
smoke
same
up their
series with Guy
Ooh,
Sensei character.
who's the
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
should have died?
Like,
Yeah.
Gran
That-
Torino.
like they should have just let Neji not die to a stick. I don't know how that fucking wood killed him, bro.
That
I don't
was a
know
strong stick.
what was
The
like,
one blind spot.
Yeah,
bro. I don't like
That's
that's
a
just a
strong-ass
stupid.
stick.
Anyways, and like that was the
Telltale
stupidest
stick,
that
bro.
I ever seen, bro. And like then we got Guy Sensei, right? Who would have been that was perfect.
perfect.
Like
Oh,
he did everything in his power to stop Madara, you know what I'm saying? And Madara praised him. He was like, it just wasn't you were the closest anyone will ever get, you know what I'm saying? But it just wasn't enough. And then he's dying, and then Naruto comes out of nowhere and touches this nigga, and he just, you know, all of a sudden
Okay.
so good, you know.
Low key, I felt I agree with you, but that shit was wrong with Naruto. Like I was like, this nigga-
And
I mean,
Prince of the
Bro,
Rain was
I
like,
think it's a matter of perspective, bro.
I was
Because
geeking. Oh shit.
yeah, Prince of the Rain brought
He
up
hated me.
Kiba in part 1, and I'm guessing he's talking about his fight with Yakon and Sakon. But I mean, him being saved by Kankuro, I think it was Kankuro, right? That saved Kiba in part 1
I can't remember.
against
Bro.
Sakon, like the guy with the like makes that wall, like the two-headed, like he was like the twins attached to him.
Rashomon.
That's probably the most forgettable like Sasuke retrieval like fight, low key. But I mean, him dying there. I mean, Kiba didn't do much anyway. So,
Bro, none of them
Nah.
characters did anything, bro. That's a whole other discussion for another day, bro.
that's another
The,
topic.
the
Nah,
thing
In part 1, the kids.
the
couldn't
thing
work.
about Guy Sensei too that
Mhm.
this really irks me
Mhm.
is that like you know when people talk about like okay this character like his journey is done, like you
Yeah.
know like his death here could be like the perfect standoff, like
Mhm.
Like Guy was a person that his whole like his character trope was literally Rock Lee's own, but actually was done. Like
Yeah.
he was strong enough to go toe to toe with these guys at his peak. He literally like Kakashi watching that man's like, damn, this nigga really stronger than me. It's like
That Itachi
it was at his brightest. He was like, as Otori said, Madara said, like he's the closest to him, strongest jujutsu ninja ever, blah blah blah. All those praise and stuff is like his death there would have been like so
Complete.
Like, just be like
Because
look,
it literally
went out
encapsulates, I get exactly, like it literally encapsulates everything that Rock Lee and him stand for, which is that they can, regardless of their, I guess unluckiness with their genetics, that they can rise to the top just off of hard work and what they were born with. You know what I'm saying? And Guy literally did that right before he died. You know what I'm saying? There was nobody in the verse stronger than him except for Madara. You know what I'm saying? At that moment, and he died. And then Naruto just brought him back to life. Like, it was just so stupid, bro.
It was.
so
yeah.
stupid.
And now he's in a wheelchair rolling around. Like, how is that helping his character, bro?
Yeah,
Like,
they went a little too actually.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
Kaiden also
on the same
mentioned.
tip,
Wait,
go ahead.
he'll go. Oh yeah. It's another thing from Black Sails. So I mean, Falcon say he doesn't really care, but
Marco not even in here, bro.
okay. So like, since everyone like since we all passed this part with Philly, like they mentioned if like his fake out was like good, and like I think that like because like he said that we all knew he was coming back, but me and Tori we did
I
not
didn't,
know.
bro. Me and Nelly
No,
did
that
not
was
know,
good.
bro.
That was
But
good.
yeah, I think it was good because especially with how the
Nigga, me and Nelly was
Yeah,
we were
like-
like, yo, let's
I guess
Bro,
I guess
got
Kai's
that.
just
Me
like
too.
big brain, bro, because we didn't know. So. But,
Yeah, he must be
Yeah.
on some 3,000
tight.
IQ shit or something. So he-
Nah, what
Nah.
Nelly was saying, I was tight. Nah, I was really tight like, when he died because he was my
Yeah.
favorite. Like, so
yeah, but I
didn't know.
think
I
it was
didn't
good.
because he was in the middle of a storm.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What
and then-
day?
in
What?
the water.
What?
Yeah,
Wait.
I was saying that like I thought it was good because like with like how the crew was kind of evolving like day by day because of Flint's actions and stuff like that, and then having like the OG Billy come back, especially at a time where like things are so like tense. Like as the readers, we had no clue where it will go. So like
yeah.
yeah,
He
like,
said, "Oh, I'm just that dude."
yeah, I'm just that dude.
Oh,
All right,
man.
so he can
Yeah,
go back
that
to like
was a
some
good-
Naruto stuff.
Oh, I got one more like general topic if we're done with this one that I can think of. So I'll keep it
About,
on my.
death
In the,
or, like,
yeah,
Wait,
about
can I
that.
say this real quick.
yeah, go ahead,
on
Malik.
that
I know you're
same
saying
tip,
something.
like before we go too far away from it, like also when we was talking about underwhelming
Yeah.
character storylines. I'm not saying Hashirama's character storyline is underwhelming. He's like one of my favorite characters. I was just
I mean,
gonna say
he was a flashback character.
it's so odd how we learn like let's talk about like how Madara didn't die for all them years, like stuck to that tree, but like we literally don't know how Hashirama died. Like how do you have one of the
Yeah.
strongest people in your series
Yeah.
and we don't know how they died? Like it's just I guess that would go along with
Oh, okay.
underwhelming character.
Do you know
deaths.
why I
Like,
think
that's
that
like
is
one of the-
too? One reason is the Hashirama cells. You know what I'm saying? If we don't know like the nature of his death, we don't ever have to really wonder like how they've cultivated it, where they found his body, blah blah blah.
That's
You know what
just
I'm saying?
cheating, bro.
Like we don't have to think about any of that with the Hashirama cells. That's probably one reason.
underwhelming.
No, of course, I agree, but I don't really. I mean, I never thought about it. Like I didn't care. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
Nah, I
Like-
literally kept thinking about it obsessively because Madara was alive so long. I was like, bro, why
Yeah.
is he
He
alive
said
so long?
versus
Hashirama his same age.
counterpart.
Well,
Hashirama
no,
died
we
long.
saw why he
Like,
was. He was
And
alive.
Hashirama is the source of those cells.
Yeah.
So who smoked them? Because he didn't just die through natural causes,
Well,
right?
Yeah, there's no
okay,
way.
no, like,
There's
different
no
cells.
way he
What?
getting
If it's
smoked.
his- No.
It should be
See what I'm
natural.
saying?
No, I
Sorry.
understand
It
what
can't be
you're saying.
natural causes.
If it's
bro?
his
No,
cells,
but listen, Malik. Like
I'm-
the Hashirama cells aren't just like you just take a little bit of that nigga like they can't just be his DNA
Nah,
and that's it.
that's-
You know what I'm saying? Because if that's the case, if that was the case,
Sorry, listen, Tori. I only say that because remember, Madara said that he could heal without weaving signs. So that nigga's
Yeah.
cells are broken. So that means that he
Hashirama
had to
cells were
get
cracked.
smoked.
No, he's no way he got smoked, bro. Like,
That's the thing. He had to get.
It's just
smoked.
no. It's just one of those
See,
things
but
where
the
there's no
problem-
answer. There's no answer to it, bro. Like, you
yeah.
just
But see, the
can't-
problem with no, Malik, but listen, there's a difference, right? There's a difference. The problem with us since there's no reason, the problem with us going with him getting smoked within like the parameters that we have, right, is that means that there's somebody out there that killed Hashirama, right? So then that begs the question. It's like a cycle, you know what I'm saying? It'll keep going if we ask who killed him instead of just saying he's dead. You see what I'm saying? Like we should just leave it where it is because one is it's not gonna change shit. The series is over regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Two,
I mean,
because
Boruto, bro.
if I be like if I go who killed Hashirama, then we find that dude, then it's like okay, where is that dude and what was he doing throughout?
No. I'm not talking about after the series is over, bro. I was talking about.
No, I'm talking about during the series. Like I'm literally talking about like if Hashirama died predating the events of the series, then we would have to wonder where's the person that killed him throughout the entire
mean,
series.
he's
Why they
definitely
didn't show it in the Fourth Great Ninja War? Like if they're dead and if they died, who killed them or did they die from natural
Yeah,
causes?
there's just too many loops. He didn't write an answer for it, so we can't.
Exactly. It just branches
Damn,
off too many
Kendo's
ways
Mangaka,
for us to
bro.
really.
That's crazy.
Nah,
that's
yeah,
Bottom line, nobody smoked my niggas, bro.
I'm pretty sure like Kishimoto
Yeah, I
like
guess.
see that was like damn like yeah I'm
Mens finishes manga.
leave this alone.
Mens finishes manga,
alone.
and then someone asked him how he died. He said, "Say swear, bro." Went back. He said, "Damn, I
Say
forgot."
swear. He said, "I forgot to include it."
He said, "Damn, I swore I put it in." Bro.
Uh,
Oh well.
See, this is what I'm saying. I was
It's
just
in the
saying that
archives.
for him 'cause- I was just saying
The
that
wrong
for him 'cause-
manuscript, bro.
and I understand. I understand what you meant,
Yeah.
like going or branching off on all them
Yeah.
questions, but that's the point I'm saying. It's like if we come to the logical conclusion that like the Senju and the Uzumaki clan, they have strong vital life
Yeah.
forces. It's like him dying from natural causes just wouldn't make sense.
Mhm.
Since
I mean,
people
it's been
his
a
age
break
were
though.
alive.
Bro.
No, wait. What I'm saying is, since people his age were alive and he has his cells, it's like
Yeah, just make
Oh,
sense.
that's the
you're
only.
right.
He would
That's the
either have
only
to have an
explanation.
illness, which would make sense
So-
because
so
of his
here-
Yeah,
Yeah.
every strong nigga has
This the-
illness, bro.
And that's the
Itachi,
thing. It's like
Yeah.
that he couldn't give him ninja aids like he gave him Itachi because it's Senju. It's the
Exactly.
Senju cells. So
Oh,
he
that
couldn't
is
give
a
him-
natural
He
cure,
couldn't give
bro.
him aids.
Mhm.
Exactly. He couldn't give him aids, so it had to be somebody that smoked it, and then it wouldn't make sense for
Exactly.
the story. Which is why I say
It's horrible.
That was why I say it's.
I
I mean, but we
Man,
all
I
know
say
Naruto's not
underwhelming,
exactly
nigga.
the
Jump straight to
Naruto's
horrible,
not
bro.
exactly the most airtight series anyway, so it's not like you know, like it's not like it's
Yeah.
surprising.
I'm just saying, like
Like,
but the overall point I'm trying to make is underwhelming does. I can't stand them even more than people that should have died.
Yeah.
Like if a person lives when they shouldn't
Mhm.
live, I hate that less than people dying
when they
for just
and it's just
no
doesn't-
fucking reason.
yeah, it's no reason to.
I think it depends on how much. Well, on one end, how much panel time that person who was supposed to die gets, and like how useful that person is to the story, and then the opposite of that being like, yeah, I don't know. I think I hate them equally, to be honest. Like, I think they're both.
I can
kinda-
understand why you would say
Yeah.
that, but yeah,
Like
it irks me when I see a good character like one I love, and I'm like, oh, this nigga.
But,
died.
like if I see a
Or-
nigga that like when you say, all right, describe like what do you mean by I mean not like briefly, like by a character that like should have died. Like what are your thoughts seeing that person like lingering around on panel? Like
it's like it's literally a feeling of like I don't
Yeah,
care.
like, you don't give a
remember when
fuck.
Pound-
Like, what are we
remember
doing
when Pound-
here?
You remember when Pound came? Pound came back? I literally did.
bro,
Like people were mad about it. I was like, this is stupid. But
Yeah.
I don't
Nah,
care.
like,
Wait,
it's all,
when-
those
when-
types
when
of
who came
characters
out?
though, they're usually
Pound.
minor.
see,
They're-
listen,
When who
the
came
thing
out?
with Pound,
Pound.
because the nigga at Whole
From,
Cake Island,
One
Whole
Piece?
Cake Island. The thing with
The-
Pound, right? This
the
nigga
triple
quote
P's.
unquote died, right?
or Pell from
Hell,
Alabama.
Pound Pedro Pal.
Hell is even worse, bro. I
Pedro,
remember having an
Pedro, that
argument.
nigga,
The
what the?
triple
Bro.
P's, bro.
Bro, I remember
Tell
having
us.
an argument with this nigga Steve-O about Pell. This nigga Steve-O was trying to tell me that Pell got out of that nuclear blast range. Man. I'm like,
It's important. Like, or to give us
I'm
a
like,
number.
Steve-O,
Like,
that
like
nigga did not get out of that blast radius, bro. I like these niggas trying to
He
send
had
me
5
fucking grasp that
seconds.
detail. Niggas trying to send me grasp that detail Falcon flight speed and shit. I'm like, nigga, this nigga did not escape that blast. So he dropped it and it exploded in the same panel. Literally.
Yeah.
Like he dropped it and it exploded in the
and he
same
had 5
panel.
seconds to fly up high enough to not touch the city. Like to fly that high, like in 5 seconds, like there's no way.
Bro, it was just ridiculous, bro. But
He said
anyway,
reset, bro. It's a cartoon. No, I mean,
Yeah, Nelly, he moving Mach 1.
Bro, but to go with Pound, like that nigga Oven supposedly killed Pound.
Reset
you
the
know what
time,
I'm
bro.
saying?
we got an emotional moment. Nigga came back, bro.
Then he comes right back. Look, that like it didn't even wait a whole arc, bro. Nigga came back during Wano.
Bro,
Like,
Pedro's
bro,
coming back too. I'm telling you, bro.
Pedro's
He's gonna be on that
gone,
boat.
bro.
no
Oh my
way,
God.
no,
you can't
because
you can't kill off the triple P's, bro. You can't.
No, Carrot's literally about to get her like revenge fight right now. Isn't she about to
And
fight
Pedro
Red
gonna be
Sun?
watching, bro. He's like, damn, like
Nah, it's not.
I'm so proud. Like
I'm proud.
I'm telling you, bro.
Yo, Pedro, we spoke them for you, bro. Why you alive? And it's like,
Yeah, fact,
Like gonna be on the bed watching TV, bro, watching the
it's gonna be
highlights.
like that moment in Thriller Bark where that nigga Luffy pushed the zombie back in the grave. That's what they gonna do. That nigga Pedro.
Hold up, man.
Oh,
You had your turn, bro.
Pedro.
Like your death
dude.
made Carrot raw. Like what are you doing here?
But nah, like wait, did y'all have anything else on that topic?
about,
I think that's.
Yeah, I think I forgot. I don't know.
that could be for me. I'm scrolling through
I'll
my
probably
panel list right
come to
now.
me, but go ahead.
All right, so I was just wondering like how y'all feel about not literal death, but like a character's I guess death and rebirth or death and like their
Metamorphosis.
death and
Reincarnation or something?
Let me spit.
hold
Let me
on.
spit real quick.
I just wanted to put my example before I let y'all go.
ahead. ahead.
I want to talk about Kaladin because we all here read this shit. So, the darkest point. He's only 20 years old. Where I am in the story right now, he's only 20 years old, but he's been through more than probably any other character. Like
Kaladin?
even people like Dalinar and shit. Like he's been
Oh,
through way too
Kaladin.
much, bro, for a
Okay.
20-year-old. And so he's at like the lowest point in his life. You know what I'm saying? And he was contemplating suicide, and he was too sad to even get up and go kill himself.
Oh,
Like,
you
that's how
mean
sad he
that?
was.
Like rebirth in that way? Oh yeah, that shit wrong.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but like while he was on the verge, you know what I'm saying, he finds
Syl,
Syl,
bro.
you know what I'm
Oh,
saying, and
the
she
goat.
brings him back. And he says himself, he says, Kaladin Stormless is dead. And he called himself Kaladin Bridge Leader, you know what I'm saying? And blah blah blah. Like shit like that. Like how do y'all feel about characters where they lose themselves and become something different? You know what I'm saying? Like I guess like that's my
That's
that's
just
my
always
question.
like super raw to me. Like I was like when characters
Ooh.
kind of like,
Um,
shed that
I-
kind of I mean like that kind of trope is just it's one of my faves when because like usually it always happens in a way that they're kind of forced to adapt or forced to change, and then like just seeing someone adapt to the situation and kind of shed that like I won't say like naive because not always naive, but just like shed that kind of part that wouldn't survive in this new world, and then like just become adapt into something that could survive. And then those scenes, especially because like the dialogue's usually like really good and the monologue as well. Like I always love those kind of scenes, so I'm a fan of it. I would say.
There's Keem can speak on this more, but Rin from Poppy War, she she goes through a lot actually, and she deals with like, I'll just say a lot of death, and yeah, like, Keem, you're probably better at speaking on this situation since you read
If I spoil it?
the last
Hey,
book.
let's go.
This is Poppy. Basic. Okay, so I'm a user in conjunction with some other characters. Because I have this book I'm reading now called The Name of the Wind from King Killer Chronicles.
Yeah, that's also good.
Yeah, that shit amazing, dog. So like the thing when characters like Rin and the MC there is just like for Rin, for example, war orphan, a very, very hard upbringing. She is in a place where opium is being like a major commodity in like her city and stuff like that. And then I mean she kind of knew she had like the talent, like the brains and stuff, had like this she wanted to go to. Blah blah blah. Long story short, she went to the school. And the difference from being like growing up poor to going to like basically the richest school in that continent, like she like had the mentality where she had to like reform herself, reform her whole identity to like really keep up with those people, even at the cost of losing your roots. Even though like your roots basically dealing with like all the bad shit that happened in her hometown and stuff, and then later on it had a war happen. Like she during school had to go to a war and
Okay.
have to deal with friends dying. Some of these things happen to these characters, bro. I didn't even want to. I didn't
Yeah.
want to say it, bro. It's bad. Like it made me uncomfortable, and for her to like really like hear these things on these some of these things she went through herself, dog. It's like she really had to like. It really opened my eyes. I mean, I wouldn't really say open my eyes, but recently I've been reading a good bit of stories. Kaladin is Shallan is a really good example of this fucking shit though,
Mhm.
where they tend to have to section off like a piece of themselves to really cope
Yeah.
bro.
and deal with these
Yeah.
things. Like
Genius.
because like
That's why I brought up Poppy War. Yeah.
yeah, because Kaladin, for example, too, like he kind of have like the person he was between the war when he was in Amaran's camp and being in the war camps.
Hey, fuck that nigga, bro.
Bro, we said the same thing, sir. We
It's-
both said fuck that nigga over there, bro. Oh my
It's like the Kaladin, like then he couldn't be that person if he wants to be who he usually be when we saw the first chapter when that one boy, I think his name is Cian,
Yeah,
came
it was
into the-
Sin.
yeah, Cian
Yeah.
came into the fold and Kaladin take him under his wing.
Or he was MC, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I swear he was. I was
Oh,
like, bro,
he
this
was
MC,
Oh, yo, this nigga
kinda-
Yeah, bro, I
Bro.
swore. Son, I was like, oh, this is the MC.
I was like, this nigga kind of
I
scrub,
was,
bro.
what
Like,
is, I was like, King?
I was like-
I was like,
I was like, this man
Cause
finna.
yo, King put me on, bro. I was like, nah,
I'm like,
not Ryan
his end game better be crazy, bro. If this how he moving.
His English. But nah, go ahead.
yeah, but like, as I was saying, like some of these characters, like Kaladin, Shallan, like Rin, really. I mean, this MC from the Name of the Wind, where
Cobb?
he at his lowest.
Oh,
yeah,
name it.
yeah. He at his lowest, he had to like, he spent years being like a beggar on the streets and stuff like that, bro.
Damn.
Like, it's like
Years?
Down bad.
years, bro.
Worse than
He
that,
was
bro.
so
Damn, Khaled
bad.
only spent 8 months. Ugh.
Nah,
So Price killing him, man.
he was done bad. So it's like, and that series itself really talked about like what it means to really compatible like to like section off like your mind to like
Yeah.
really help yourself cope with a lot of these mechanisms and stuff like that. That's why I really like that example, and it's one that I read now. But like Kaladin, Shallan, Rin from the Poppy War, like especially
Yeah.
like the end of the Poppy War, what she did.
Gee, fuck.
Yeah,
man.
what she did, dog, and for her to actually cope with that after, like, she literally had to like change her mind to view people in a whole different like
Damn,
viewpoint.
that- okay,
That's
that-
getting
that-
mad.
All right, that's
getting
my
mad.
favorite. That's my favorite. Like, I don't know, what do you call it? Like,
Example of that.
yeah, I get. Like, I love for me stories like that, like characters like that. Man, it's so good. Like, it's really engaging for me to like see that because I like when characters are like isolated by a specific thing. That people wouldn't understand, and even when like everyone around them is like saying all these things, like it's from their point of view,
Mhm.
but because we witnessed it happen and we understand like how it all happened, like we're the only one. Like I feel
Yeah.
connected to characters like Kaladin and Shallan. Yeah,
I
so like
feel that.
it just, that for me is like my favorite. I think that's like probably one of the
Favorite
best
kind of,
ways
like,
for me to like
character.
click with the
Oh,
character. 'Cause
That's a really good point.
I don't know what
because,
that's called, but I don't know if somebody has a name for.
Nah, I don't.
Wait.
I don't know.
It's a
That's
good
little
point
too
because
specific.
like some
like
some characters and all like in Storm like would be kind of confused as to like why Kaladin is the way he is, but since we are
Right.
the readers, like we see this shit and we see like bro, like Kaladin in front of that chasm, dog, and
Oh man.
he's
That shit
saying,
was
bro, like
incredible.
bro, my chest was in my fucking hand, bro.
Bro, I was like, not my nigga, bro.
I was like,
Oh,
that's my
my-
MC, bro. I'm dropping this shit. Like, I ain't kidding. Like, you can't be Stormless, bro. And like, bro, Stormlight is so good because Still came into play. And
Oh my god.
like, oh my god, Oh, Tears in
No,
My
and
Eyes.
you know what? You know what? That's just so incredible about them too is that it's not even that part of him was like necessarily dead. It's that he literally couldn't stand to be like, you know what I'm saying, like
Bottom of
to
the
be
barrel.
himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he had to change. Like he had to let go of what made him Kaladin Stormless to become like to not die, literally, like to not kill
Yeah.
himself. You know what I'm saying? So he had to like willingly give away like a piece of himself. You know what I'm saying? So that's crazy. Like, and then we have people like you know, like you were talking about Shalon, where it's not like it's not even intentional. You know, it's just like how she's coping. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that shit is just incredible, dog.
Yeah,
That
and I guess
the
like a manga example, 'cause, you know, a popular one would obviously be Kaneki, with how he ends up shutting out certain layers of himself. Of course, like we see
Yeah.
it with Jason, you know, he just completely shifted just how he his thinking. You know, he was a very like self-sacrificial kind of. I mean, that's not the right word because he still kind of is. He just takes the burden of like a lot of people. But like before that, he would like um kind of like take the pain and then like think that's gonna make everything better. But after his talk with Rize, and you know, he finally learned that, you know, with his mom helping people, he was actually he didn't feel like good like he said he did, but he was like, you know, jealous that the mom didn't pick him, stuff like that. And then his change, obviously, and then we see in Ray too, you know, when he's I say after his like heavy injury with the battle with Arima. Obviously, his whole like ghoul kind of side was like shut down, even though it's still lurking in the back. And you know, he's always an example people bring up when it comes to those like introspective kind of, you know, characters that had went through stuff that to shut him down. Even with like the abuse with his mom, you know, like he completely just shut that off and then like rewrote it as in like she was like nice the whole time when
Oh, that reveal was
Yeah.
insane.
Oh
too.
yeah,
Like when it was revealed that she really wasn't. And see, that's what's so incredible when you're reading a story like through a character's perspective is that you're not viewing the world as it is. You're like a warped perspective of it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like it's just like the real world, like how scientists say like what we see is not at all what the world is actually like. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the way our minds process it. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. Like we're processing like the if it's done well enough, like it was with Kaneki. Like you know what I'm saying? Like we have these notions, but that's just because of how mentally damaged she was. Like how much trauma and all of this that he had sustained even before he became a ghoul. You know what I'm saying? So it's
that's a perfect segue to this one story that does it phenomenally, and Keem is watching it right now. But it's Mr. Robot.
Yeah, y'all been guessing that one. I think it.
I won't speak too much about it, but I will say specifically about this that, like you said, Tori, preconceived notions.
Yeah.
A lot of it is through Elliot is he's one of those characters where you learn early on it's pretty unreliable narrator, and that's the whole purpose of like the beginning there. But yeah, so he goes through a lot, and there's like shit that kind of happens in his past and whatnot that like he has to deal with it, and like trauma is a huge thing in the show. And yeah, it's that show like it's something else. So I actually kind of the reason why I fuck with Mr. Robot a lot is because it doesn't just like take you through someone kind of walling off or like sectioning off a piece of their past, but it like it does it in a way that it kind of makes the story even more interesting. I don't know how to explain that without actually getting to specifics, but yeah,
I know
just
exactly what you're talking about though.
that story.
It's literally the perfect. If you could talk about it, it's a perfect example of what we're talking about right now.
And
Literally.
so that's why, yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, that was all I had, bro. You know, I thought of those off the top of my head. So
Nah, good shit, good shit.
oh yeah, Malcolm not even
Part
here,
of
so he can't
topic.
even talk about his.
Yeah. Should we cover most of what y'all wanted to cover?
Yeah, that's what I had. Those are the most interesting ones I could think of. Let's see.
You guys were hearing me by chance?
Oh yeah,
yeah, there we go.
We
Oh
can
shit,
hear now.
bro. Yeah, I was talking for a little bit there. I was
Oh,
realizing.
damn.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Now, recently, what you guys were talking about too, like, it had like a stream. Sanderson had like a month ago or something, and somebody asked him like something about Shalon, and Shalon like her viewpoint had said something, and the person didn't really find it make sense. And Sanderson started laughing. He was like, "Bro, like Shalon is a very like lousy narrator. Like,
Yeah.
don't believe everything she's saying. Like,
Yeah.
and that really
Yeah.
opened my eyes. I was like, wow, like these niggas really be kind of capping like
Yeah.
in their own thing. Is like that's really really
right.
crazy, dog. So that was like something I wanted to point out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
it can
there's a
work really
lot
well.
of-
And,
Oh, my bad.
no, I was just gonna say it could work, and sometimes it doesn't. Like, you know, if I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
if it serves a point, like Shalon serves a point, but I feel like if you just kind of do it just for the sake of like fucking with your audience, I don't know. I'm kind of
Yeah,
like,
it's just
but-
pointless.
yeah.
But like I was about to say, like there's like a lot of small like hints that both of the examples, like with Shalon and with Elliot, like there's a lot of small things that you could notice that would make you realize like that everything's not
As it seems.
as it seems. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, right.
But
Elliot is
wouldn't
fucking
notice-
crazy.
like you wouldn't notice it unless for some reason like you could figure out that they were like perceiving things differently,
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck?
or like 'cause, like there would be no way for you to know unless the author did something,
yeah,
or unless you just catch on somehow. You know what I'm saying?
Which you don't.
Which you're not going
you
to.
can't catch on to a certain
you
point.
can't.
Exactly until he wants
Literally
you
at all.
to. Yeah, literally until he wants you to. And
Wait.
and-
Who watched Mr. Robot here? Besides,
I
like,
have.
I know Nelly and hasn't, and Keem is catching up, but Malik, you
I'm
completed it?
I think this is
Yeah, I'm on season 4.
yeah,
Season
4? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And where you at, Keem? Real quick.
I'm on season 2, episode 3.
Okay. So, oh no, Nelly, because Nelly, fuck. Ah, shit.
Nah,
Yeah.
because Nelly,
you literally
because
can't
Nelly-
say it. Like, I know exactly what
We
you're
don't
talking
gotta
about.
get
but-
too
Yeah.
specific, but,
Yeah, you can't say it because it's too like there's no way
Because
to
that
dance
shit was
around it.
wild. I'll just say that. Like,
But there's just no way to dance around it without spoiling. Like,
that
literally
shit, you had no fucking clue. Like, there's no
Yeah.
way. There's nothing foreshadowed. Like, nigga just said
there's
something.
Literally
and
nothing
we were
there. That's what's
confused.
so.
you know what's
Like-
funny? the his theme song that like when you start figuring out shit, it's like what the hell?
See, because like the reason it worked so well is because like the way they did it is they wrote or like they displayed it as fact. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't find out it's fiction until you find out, which is
Yeah.
like there's literally no other hint. It's literally it's just like everything else that happens in the series or in the
And-
book until it's not. You know what I mean? Like and
I'm
that's
still
the point.
wondering how, because it's done multiple times with 3 different things, and I'm just wondering how it worked. Because when I look back on it, like, I don't think there's another story I've read where like an author or a story writer left that important of a detail
Mhm.
and just gave it to us, and we were just like, fuck it, like, this is the craziest
But
shit
I'm
we ever
gonna
seen.
say
Like, you know
to
what I'm saying?
'cause I feel like we're talking about the exact
Actually-
same thing right now.
Actually,
Yeah,
Fight Club does.
Oh, Fight Club. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Movies out.
Oh,
I feel like I leave
yeah.
movies out because, like, yeah, it's you can get away with a lot of movies because the time frame, the 2 hours. whatever.
Exactly. It's like people don't even think because when you watch the movie, it's only like 2.5 hours, maybe 2 hours, 1.5
Yeah.
hours. You just lulling 30 minutes in the movie. You're not expecting no big plot twist 30 minutes in
Yeah.
the fucking movie. So then you get hit with that shit. You're like, God damn.
Yeah. David Fincher does a lot of shit like that. He did it in Seven too, but
Chris, I might be
Yeah.
wrong, but is that what you're talking about, bro? Like people take.
let me see.
I might be wrong, but I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
Yep, bro. We always on the same page.
Yeah, facts. That shit was crazy, and I don't know how you don't like see it until you. It's just fucking ridiculous, bro.
It
Like,
makes
it's,
no sense.
it's crazy, and I love when authors do that because that just shows how much they understand, like what viewpoint their reader will have at a certain point, at any given point. You know what I mean? Because it's just impossible to know like that twist is coming in any story.
Like,
until,
let me dangle this thing right in front of your face, but you don't know
Yeah.
the context of it until I give it to you. And I'm just like, fuck. Like,
It's
that
so
shit.
great, man.
You know what's the funny thing about that is, even though y'all like dancing around the topic, there's still no like way to like literally no storyline in Mr. Robot in season 1, or the rest of the season for that matter, like you still can't pinpoint what we talking about, even though we talking about this.
Yeah,
Wait,
'cause it's
also
so-
also this
It's such
one.
an obscure moment that literally it fades to the background. It comes like roaring back to the front of your memory when you know what I'm saying, like when all the dots connect and you think back to that moment, you're like, that shit was so significant. But
Check,
it's like,
check your text.
all right, yeah, like that shit was so insignificant. But it's like when you finally get back around to it, you're like, that's like the most incredible moment in the like, you know, in the season.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy,
I don't
bro.
want to say anything because Keem's still in season 2.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say like anything about the past season.
Yeah,
Season 1.
yeah.
And I know that Lee hasn't watched it yet, but you know how when you watch season 1, or of any show, like when you already watching a show, you kind of think, you start thinking when you after so I don't want to say nothing, but the rest of that show is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
shout out
It's
Keem.
incredible.
Are you watching that right now, or you just been?
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Oh, bad.
He watching
listen,
Black
bro.
Sail, Mr. Robot back to
When are-
bro. That's
Wait, Keem, when are you planning on finishing it? I know I'm off topic, but
pretty,
like season
pretty
2,
soon
yeah,
because
so
that man be
season
binging.
2, probably
Yeah, listen.
before this week done.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
For real,
Mr.
for real.
Robot VC, hold up.
Black Sails and Mr.
Yeah, we
Robot.
need the
Wait,
Black Sails VC for sure. Like we need to talk about that.
I'm ready.
but-
Anything else you guys want to talk about?
On y'all.
No, that's everything I'm thinking about is just the underwhelming death.
Oh, shit, let me look at
so
my
we already covered that, so shit, that's all that.
And you know what's I don't know if this is off topic too, but like, Malik brought it up that Fight Club, like that works so well too because like you have this feeling watching it, you're like, there's something missing. Like what the fuck? Like something don't feel right. You know what I mean? Like, and then like it just when it gets put together, it just works so well.
It's just moments like that, and that's with anything. Bro. That's like with just not even with just twists or no. It's always with twists, but it's not
Yeah.
just with like moments where it's obscure and then it's not. It's like literally when any plot twist comes together and there's no loose ends and there's no loose strings, and it's like a puzzle piece and it fits perfectly. That shit is so satisfying.
How do they?
bro.
I'm still. That's like. I feel like that's not one of the hardest. Got to be the hardest thing to pull off
accomplish.
because
yeah, literally.
you're literally putting so many things in the story that you can't see. It's like one of those.
Ishiyama is a great example of this, bro. Like if we want to talk minor details, you know what I'm saying? Like shit with like the second chapter maybe.
Nigga whispering in the ear.
Yeah, with Grisha, bro.
Yeah.
Like the first and second chapter, and we're seeing Grisha's reaction to Aaron whispering in his ear in the future. But we're like, what? We just think he's just looking at the door, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
definitely
like-
out the window.
But in our heads, there's no way anybody would ever reach to the conclusion.
It's a
you know what I'm saying?
fucking
That it's a
optical.
future
illusion.
Aaron. Yeah, like
Optical
there's no way.
That's what I was looking for. The word.
So it's like, but then we get to the past chapter and we go back and we see like how Aaron shaped
Yeah.
history. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
and it's just so incredible.
Nigga
how it
writing
all-
backwards.
Bro,
Writing
he's such a-
backwards.
but Aaron gonna go down, bro. He gonna go down in history, though. Like 100%, bro. He's
This-
so.
How y'all feel about the April? Oh shit! I got. Whoa, hold up. Let me stop right there because I'm gonna go off on a tangent about
Big
that
bag.
shit ending. Yeah.
So we can talk about that off stream, but
Yeah.
but yeah, and at least on you, brother.
So y'all pretty much got all the topics like y'all are thinking of, right?
Yeah. Good stream.
Yeah.
Good stream.
Sure, that was a good one, bro.
Glad you recorded that shit because I can look back and like.
Bro, we were really spitting too. That's the best part. Like,
Yes, sir.
Little My Hero
it was a good
slander.
shit.
Little, no, I'm just kidding.
fast. You know,
Started
you got
off
a
right.
little razzle dazzle in there. You know what I'm saying?
And just like
Tory that brought
the last kind of
Wait, what you said?
like the last kind of like
He that
topic
brought Uncle
I want to
Buddy.
get on just like for a bit, like not too long, but like with how immortality and like how those kind of characters like die off. Like, are you just a fan of that in general? Because I know like Tori, like for example in like TOG, right? Most of the characters are like immortal. So
Oh,
it's, like-
Immortal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can speak on this, bro. See, good topic.
yeah. So
That
it's
shit,
like,
bro, is incredible. Like, my favorite part of it is how it's literally like living history. You know what I'm saying? It only works in worlds like Tower of God or something that like where there's a massive history and lore to the world that we as readers don't know. But since there are characters that are so ancient that they know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for example, Gustang, you know what I'm saying? Like, when he
Ooh.
pulled up to the floor of death, bro.
White
you know
drip.
what I'm saying? When he put up to the floor of death, and just the weight he held, you know what I'm saying? It's not even like we, you know,
discovered the
expected.
the
Like,
secret
it's
behind
not like we
Shinsu. Bro.
expected.
I was like, damn. Like,
All those niggas that pull up like that are just unfucking
Literally.
real, bro.
Bro, I'll just use my favorite example of this shit, bro. My favorite example is Jin-sung. You know what I'm saying? Like, early in season 2, he's talking, you know, about the Fug Slayers and shit like that. He's threatening Karaka, basically telling him that Bam is coming for him to pull him off the throne and blah blah blah. And like, I was thinking about it, and like, you know, he's pulling up. All these people are noting how important he is, how strong he is, and stuff like this, like how ancient and how much he knows, and all of this stuff like that. And it's just intriguing to me. Like, every time any character in Tower God pulls up, you never know what they know, because any of them could have been around for any event that happened or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I find that so interesting. But there's also like a downside where if a character is like that and the story is on like I should say, like, I guess if the character doesn't seem to, you know, have a purpose, you know what I'm saying, but they're lingering, like you know, like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
No, I know what you mean. Well, real quick, I was gonna say, like, I just like the fact that it's different from like Gustang with Jin Sung Ha, because like that nigga, you don't realize how strong that, because they talk about him, where you don't realize how ridiculously strong that nigga is until like no, Jin Sung Ha.
Oh, Jin Sung,
Yeah, it's just,
It's
I like when
pretty.
a nigga trying to, like, he's just on his, he's sitting there having conversations, you know, with Bam and his friends and shit, and he's just like, you know, little lollipop, whatever. You don't realize.
But Shinny is the first time we got a look into, like, you know, like that, I guess, that world.
So ridiculous.
You know what I mean? Like that ancient power. You know what I mean? Because it's like they
He
speak on it
swatted
all
that
the
shit away
time.
when he fought Machete.
They speak on it all the time, how like ancient characters, how characters in general just get stronger as they get older.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because of just the nature of Shinzu, because it strengthens and reinforces as time goes on. So it's like they literally will never wither and die. Like they'll only get stronger, but but by consequence, their mind is what rots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
It gets
they
warped.
counteract that by sleeping. You know what I'm saying? They take these long slumbers, you know what I'm saying, to keep themselves, I guess,
For like 500
sane.
years.
Literally,
You're
like,
damn.
yeah, like to keep themselves sane, they just hibernate.
Nigga just sleep, bro.
Yeah.
And pull up on site like Jihad. That's fucking
Yeah,
wild.
it's just ridiculous, bro. But yeah,
Nigga
like
pulled up on his
Jin-sung-
Captain Crunch self and like fucking.
Captain Crunch.
Oh man, he ridiculous, bro. Like,
Said, you went off?
yeah,
Me? Like, I was like, damn.
that's what I'm saying.
Jin-sung,
Like the he, like his outfit in what was that arc? My bad. Yeah, where like he looked like he comes straight out of a cereal box, but he's still raw. And then I'm like, I'm watching
This
that
nigga
version
said
of him.
Galaxy, bro. I was like, what the
And then
fuck?
this other version of him comes down, and I'm just like, yo, this like SIU is a masterclass at like handling character introductions like that, like the rawest niggas in the verse, just like pulling up like that, like it always hits, bro. Like Yurik Mizuno, this shit got it tatted on my back. I'm like,
oh my god,
You
bro,
said,
that's
you know
so
who I am?
raw.
Nah,
Man,
so raw.
Nah, that
Check
might
my
be the
back.
rawest character introduction ever, bro. I'm not even
Anybody
like, not
else
ever,
that
but
wouldn't
at
have
least in-
worked.
In
Yeah.
Tower
Nah,
God,
for-
in
for-
Tower
for-
God,
for-
that's the rawest one.
For me, it's Enryu.
And we use the rawest like character.
waxes the whole
introduction.
floor and then fucking.
Bro,
That nigga
I don't know,
pull
bro.
up
That
the Red
one-liner
Rain,
was just
bro.
so crazy.
Oh my God.
Like, I guess when we're
Oh
talking about
my
pure
God.
rawness, Enryu is definitely raw. Because that nigga pulled up and literally rained like shit.
Administrators are immortal too, bro. So
9,000
like,
bangs, bro.
Yeah, it's like y'all not supposed to die, but here y'all are.
You said y'all want to live? Like, get off the floor, bro. Like, what?
The whole floor, bro.
And the
This is
floor is
my
a
floor,
fucking
bro.
countryside shit. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
They said,
So
this is
get
my
outta
floor,
here.
bro. They said, whoa, you got him on the page.
I'm deporting y'all. Like, damn, bro.
But yeah, I just
Oh,
like how
man.
SIU ties it into his, but like he doesn't just like have these characters here that know everything. Like he gives it consequences, and he gives it like and he gives us like different functions in the verse that, you know, I guess correlate with that like longevity that the characters have.
Okay, I feel it. Cause yeah, sometimes when there's like immortal characters, then people are worried about how they will like die, if they do die, since they're stated to be immortal, and then now it's like, how do you die? Yada yada yada, and also with more kids that can die, people like some of their backstory, like we like you mentioned like the good kind of portion with like how they're living history, but like
Yeah.
I know in like Seven Deadly Sins, people didn't like really feel they didn't really buy like the like backstories of like 10,000 years of like Periodos like just going through the same thing, and then people are saying that like how do you kind of like mentally like survive that long with just like repeating the same thing, like they're saying that like the time is too like long for them to actually grasp that he didn't like kind of give up on the idea of like finding like happiness one day and stuff like that.
See, the thing with Meliodas is not it wasn't even he didn't have a choice. It's not like he was going through it because like he wasn't constantly trying to save Elizabeth because he wanted to. Like it was a curse. Like literally, like
Mm-hmm.
have a choice in the matter. Now, how he didn't go insane, like I don't know, like I don't like
Because like you
wrote
were the
how he
main one
didn't or if
on
he
his ass because you were like
yeah, no, I don't remember if like he wrote how he didn't go, you know what I'm saying, crazy, like because anybody would, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
10,000 years, like when he writes it on the page, you don't really understand how much time that is, bro. Like you know
yeah,
what I'm saying, to be repeating the same thing and watching someone you love, like the person you love the most, die
yeah,
over and over, and you know there's
over and
nothing you can do
over.
about
Like
it,
I could
you
just
know. So,
imagine the like cycles he went through, man. Like it's probably over like
yeah,
600.
so I mean, maybe he just didn't show it. You know what I'm saying? I guess he
Yeah,
had a support system too. You know, with the Seven Deadly Sins, but that
yeah,
wasn't
but like they were
always.
like way
Though, you know what
later.
I'm saying?
Like
Yeah, that's
they
what I'm
were
saying.
like
That wasn't always.
OGs.
So I don't know
So
how he managed to get through it all. You know, until that point. But whatever.
yeah, 'cause, like some
That
people said
series
like
long gone,
they
bro.
aren't like invest. Yeah, that's your long gone, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That shit was gas too. He fumbled, bro. Per
Well,
usual. Per usual. I forgot his name too, son. Nigga name.
Saku no.
No, it was an
Sakuz.
N, bro. It gotta be an N, right?
Yeah, Nakaba.
Nakaba.
Yeah, Nakaba. But like
Nakaba.
his other name was like S. No,
Okay.
Nakaba. Yeah, Suzuki. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, he fun with us too.
Oh.
But yeah, that's it. That's all I got, bro.
Oh yeah, it's such a good place to stop. Alright, yo. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. Hit a good talk. Good talk.
Nice. Yeah, we'll link up.